Paul Muller on your left, keeping himself a little warm here this morning with Scarf against Jonathan Orr, a former Open champion as well. Jonathan Orr did win a Legacy Open a couple years ago with Shardless Sultai, beating Legacy Mastermind Joe Lissette in the finals back when Joe was dominating with Miracles. Haven't seen Joe as much lately. I do wonder what his take on Miracles would be now without Sensei's Divining Top around.
I just don't think it's the same thing. Like, once you're used to playing it dialed up to 11 for so long, it's hard to play the watered down build.
Just normal, basically more or less a blue-white control deck.
Right, with Portent. It's hard to, could be hard to be talked into that.
Maybe a search for Escanta or two. Both these players off to nice starts here this weekend, 1-0. Lands v Storm could be quick. Both these decks can be lightning quick. Obviously, Lands tends to like to play a little bit of a longer game and really disrupt you with Rashad and Port, Wasteland, a couple other tools, but can also kill you very quickly. That's where this deck really did evolve, is once Thespian Stage and Dark Depths, they kind of met each other, along with the combination of crop rotation and digging through their deck with Life from the Loam. This deck really became a high-powered deck. Didn't have to win with, whatever it used to win with. Barbarian Ring, Nantuko Monastery, Mirshra's Factory, a bunch of other stinkers. Even has access to the power of Grove of the Burn Willows and Punishing Fire as well to keep creatures in check and slowly but surely whittle away life totals. But this is a deck in Lands I know you feel can be exploited a little bit. You did that at the Team Open. Yeah,
I thought the combo matchups for this deck, a lot of them are very bad. I played Sneak and Show at the last Baltimore team event. I played against Lands 3 times, won all 3 matches very easily. Storm, I think, has a great matchup here as well. They're a little bit more vulnerable to the sideboarded sphere effects maybe than Sneak and Show is. On the other hand, sometimes if your Sneak and Show deck does not have Omniscience or you don't draw it, there's sometimes where just putting an Emrakul or a Gristlebrand into play isn't good enough because of Caracas, or just being able to combo out a little bit faster with Merit Lage. So it's not like Lance is hopeless in these matchups, but they're very challenging, and it's hard for them to beat the opposing combo deck's best draws, even if they draw the right pieces of their own deck.
Curious to see how much Sneak and Show will be in the room here this weekend. It's a deck that's kind of trended down a little bit. Not like it used to be 3 or 4 years ago, where it was, I think, the best thing going on. At least some amount of time it was. Now we don't see it as much in Legacy. We see so much more of Lands and Grixis Delver than anything at this point. But I'm curious to see how a lot of things will shake out this weekend. What's Miracle's going to look like? What's going to be the combo deck that does the best this weekend? Because there are a lot of really good combo decks in Legacy. And will Grixis Delver actually walk away with the title here this weekend? Because the deck that Paul is playing is the natural counter, and they really don't have a good way to go about beating it. Paul's going to go down to 4 here. Maybe he knows what he's up against.
Well, Paul pulled out the Merit Lage token at the beginning, and Jonathan pulled out the Kill Obscure token at the beginning. So
okay.
There's a chance they know what they're up against.
Okay.
And once you're there, you had to mulligan very aggressively for, I am not even sure what, game 1.
Probably just depths and stage and some way to find it fast.
Yeah.
I think that's all you can probably do. Yeah, it leads me to believe that these two players do know each other. This community up here in the Worcester, Boston, you call it mid-Atlantic area, all the players that play Legacy up here, they know each other pretty well.
I was talking to a local player yesterday who said, he was testing and he had his deck ready to go for this weekend, and he just had played in a local 2.5K that got close to 100 players to show up.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
that's pretty darn good.
New England's always been good for turning out for Eternal formats. And
oh, there's Gataxian Probe. Exploration, Forest, Caracas, Dark Depths. Scry to the bottom, it's something.
It's not the worst. I mean, this is a good 4-card hand insofar as it's a pretty fast path to Merit Lage if he draws well, which is about all you can ask for in this matchup and being on 4 cards.
Yeah, if he draws stage,
right, he's good.
He could have 20/20 on turn 2, attack for the win on turn 3. And if Jonathan Orr has to Storm 1. If Jonathan Orr has to mess around a little bit here, cantripping and everything, and then Paul could win it. For now, Jonathan's going to sacrifice Polluted Delta. He'll search up an Underground Sea. Fall down to 17, of course, pay 2 life for the Gitaxian Probe. And now here's Preordain. Scry 2 here for Jonathan Orr. One on top, one on bottom. I think he needs to draw from the Preordain.
Yeah, you should have. You should have 6 cards in your hand.
There we go. Yeah, you get the. Yep.
Yeah, you should have 6 cards.
Mm-hmm. Be a lot worse if you didn't draw right away.
Yeah.
Exploration. Fetch of some variety. I believe. I believe Wooded Foothills.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I believe it's Wooded Foothills. Here's a Ponder now for Jonathan Orr.
I mean, it's easy to tell because of the art. It looks like a Wooded Foothills.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Ooh, shuffle with Ponder.
Yeah?
That's on my board. Player shuffles with Ponder.
Pretty soft board over there. Just gonna put that out there.
Is that a Wooded Foothills? Are we sure? I mean,
you got the deck list. It could be a Verdant.
1 Verdant Catacombs.
Okay.
Let's call it that.
All right, let's call it. Let's call it whatever it is. All right, that's being staged for the win. Do we do it?
Well, not for the. I mean.
Okay, it's a Grove in the
depths. Win is, maybe overly ambitious here.
Close to the win. Let's get a big die on that Dark Depths. There we go. Camera-friendly dies. Here's a Probe. Jonathan knows his hand is a Caracas. Is it go time for our Storm player? 2 Probes, a Preordain, and a Ponder, even though the Ponder shuffled. Paul Muller rubbing his hands together, waiting to die.
So on one hand, Orr knows the coast is clear. On the other hand, he knows that the coast is going to be even more clear next turn. So what is the rush?
Draw a card. There's a Caracas. I'm going to assume Paul's card that he drew is probably a Punishing Fire. It's one of the few cards that he would hold. Here's a Brainstorm.
I don't know. Orr has to respect the possibility of crop rotation.
True.
It's
True.
You don't. I think this is the turn where, if you think you're north of 90% to be able to do it, or whatever the line is, you should go, because now you are actually at risk of getting killed.
I actually forgot about crop rotation, because that would be a win basically out of nowhere.
Right.
Yep, that makes sense.
Take your place to your seats. Again, 10 a.m. Sealed Spectacular players, your round 2 hearings have.
And we know Storm, no counter magic. Not going to stop anyone from going off. 2 cards are going to go back here from Brainstorm here in just a moment. I think the counting is starting, however. I see at least 1 Dark Ritual. Is that a white border Dark Ritual? Oh boy. Gonna have to have a talk here with Jonathan. There's a fetch. All right, fetch post Brainstorm. That'll be a stamp for me. A big ask.
Mm-hmm.
Up to 3 on the bingo board. I do have some that I know I'm not going to complete this weekend, though. Like Goblin Charbelcher wins a game.
I wouldn't rule it out.
I'm ruling that out. That's not happening. I don't know if anyone's even playing Belcher this weekend, and if they are, Nick would put him on camera, actually. That's in Nick's wheelhouse. Here's a Dark Ritual. We got our Storm. Look at the teamwork here between Paul and Jonathan.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and just check off Storm count of 8.
We've got a Storm count of 4 after 3 Dark Rituals and a Brainstorm. Let's make it 5 with a Cabal Ritual and all the mana in the world.
And that's thresholded.
Cabal Therapy. That's blind? Is that considered blind?
No, he knows his
Is that considered a blind therapy?
He knows what's in his own hand.
Here's an Infernal Tutor.
No, it doesn't count. He knows he knows the cards in his own hand. That's why he named it.
Fine. Just checking for clarity.
Again, just therapying himself there to ensure Hellbent on the Infernal Tutor.
Past in Flames. No. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, Bazooka Bog.
Well, if he has a bog here.
Oh, yes.
He found the crop rotation.
He actually drew crop rotation?
All right, well.
Oh, that's game.
All right, well, that is really bad.
That is really not good. Oh, my goodness. Does he not have, he has Ad Nauseam in his deck, right?
Let's go check. I would imagine so.
Yeah, he has one. Yikes. Yeah. Yikes.
All right, well.
Hey, you were right. That was the turn he actually had to go off or he would have died.
Yeah.
You're actually right about that.
Yeah, the question is, could you have just, opened with therapy?
To see what was going on?
Yeah, and still be able to combo out? I'm not sure. I mean, it depends on what his mana's like and if he can actually get empty-handed, but with therapy among the cards he was looking at, that whole thing felt preventable.
Yeah, I am inclined to agree with you. Jonathan Orr thought he was good to go. He was not. Oh, my.
Okay. Okay.
Paul Muller going to win game 1 here over Jonathan Orr on a multi-4.
Against Storm.
Against Storm with Lands. Lands up a game over Storm. Whew, we're going to hear from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Go.
Welcome back. We're going to watch game number 2 here between Paul Muller and Jonathan Orr as Lands able to win game number 1 here over Storm. We'll start with the Storm sideboard of 3 Abrupt Decay, 3 Pack Rat. That's a fun one. 2 Chain of Vapor, 2 Fatal Push, 2 Fluster Storm, 2 Xantic Swarm, and a solo copy of Empty the Warrens.
I would just bring in the 2 copies of Chain of Vapor here as a answer to a variety of troublesome permanents that Muller probably has in his sideboard.
Speaking of troublesome permanents, there are 3 Sphere Resistance. That's what you're talking about, along with the Thorn of Amethyst, 2 Crows and Grip, 2 Song of the Dryads, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 Tireless Tracker, a Drop of Honey, a Trinisphere, and an Ancient Tomb.
The Thorn of Amethyst, the Trinisphere, along with the Ancient Tomb, the 2 copies of Surgical Extraction, just the stuff that makes it harder on casting your spells.
Not going to be too tough. Paul's got a lot of options there of things he can bring in. Probably going to make those Punishing Fires go away. Some number of Maze of Ith can probably go to. Actually, probably pretty clean sideboarding here for Paul against Storm.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's got plenty of just anti-creature stuff that's easy to cut. I would probably leave in the 1 copy of Tabernacle just as a hedge against Empty the Warrens, but a lot of this stuff is pretty easy to cut. You just want to be a fast Merit Lage deck, and you back that up with a little bit of, you know, the Trinisphere, Thorn type of stuff. Make it harder for Or to go off on the second turn.
Well, both these players are going to take a look at their opening hands. We'll see what will happen here. Jonathan Orr let game 1 get away from him a little bit there by searching for Past in Flames instead of Ad Nauseam with his Infernal Tutor.
Yeah, I think the odds that you fail with Ad Nauseam there are lower than your odds of Muller having drawn Crop Rotation the previous turn.
Underground Sea, and here's a Ponder for Jonathan Orr. To note, Paul Muller has actually kept 7 cards this game. Leads me to believe he probably has some turn 1 way of playing a card that makes all the spells cost more.
Yep, even if you had it on turn 2, I think that's still above the line. Muller has to accept that a lot of his hands just don't do anything on the first turn. If Or has you on turn 1 or turn 2, that's just what it is. But if you have a significant piece of disruption you can deploy on the second turn, plus a reasonable path to Merit Lage, I think those hands are capable, even though, you know, you will get killed on turn 2 a not insignificant amount of the time.
It was a shuffle with a Ponder there for Jonathan as we head back over to Paul for his first turn of the game. He will play a Wasteland. Ah, yes.
Beautiful.
And now he Mox. Discarding a Forest. Into, I believe that's our good friend Gamble.
So we'll see, you know, the 2 paths here are you gamble for loam and start grinding and you don't really care what you discard. The other is he's actually gambling. He's going and getting Trinisphere right now, or some other piece, maybe it's a Thorn, but it appears to be Trinisphere.
Trinisphere.
And he's going to roll the dice here. If he's able to keep it and an additional source of mana, it gets very hard for Or to win the game, especially with one of his lands getting blown up via Wasteland. If Muller loses his Trinisphere, well, that is why it is called Gamble.
This is one of my favorite cards in Magic history.
Oh, it's really good flavor.
2.
All right.
Well, gamble indeed.
Right.
Let's go back over to Jonathan.
Listen, you could have played with Inline Tutor if you wanted to do that. if you wanted to be sure. Instead, you know, it's what you signed up for.
Awesome card. Now Orr's doing a little counting.
Of course, this is the way that it goes, right? You have a card like Gamble that suggests that you're going to do something fun and random. And the reality is most of the time you're getting loam and you don't care what you discard.
Of course.
But sometimes you do actually gamble for the thing you care about the most and you hope to keep it. That does still happen sometimes.
And now the Trinisphere is in the graveyard to never be seen again, most likely this game.
Yeah, just a quick check for an Academy Ruins. I would be surprised.
So Jonathan is going to play a Lotus Petal, simply pass the turn back. We're going to go over to Paul. Who has Crop Rotation in hand. He has a Grove of the Burn Willows. He has no, I keep wanting to say cost reducer, but a way to make the spells more expensive.
Legacy Challenge. If you'd like to be one of those 2 people to begin our new
So he was banking on that gamble, keeping that card, I think.
Your way to the site event registration stage.
Going to go over to John Orr, who's doing some math again. Paul with 4 cards in hand. Haven't gotten a look at them yet. There's an Underground Sea. Didn't have that last turn. Presumably. I guess there's some... Hey, that's potentially could have held it because of Wasteland. There's Schadenport as well. Infernal Tutor over there. Couple of rituals. We know he's got at least 1 dark ritual. Okay. You're cashing Lotus Petal. You're not going off. There's Cabal Ritual.
So this gets him up to 3 mana, I believe.
All right, Infernal Tutor. What are we revealing? Dark Ritual, probably?
It makes sense going up to 3 and then... This gets him now up to 5.
Okay.
With the Dark Rituals, and from there, Ad Nauseam is there if he wants it. Or at least he has enough mana for it, not that he necessarily has in hand right now.
Is that a beta Dark Ritual?
Yes.
Yeah?
Or alpha, I don't know.
Okay. It's pretty nice, actually.
Yeah. They look cool. It's part of the reason they're expensive. They look cool.
Yeah. There's Dark Rit. This is going to be a response. Blech.
Blech. Surgical Extraction. I believe targeting Infernal Tutor.
That's what it looks like, yeah. None in hand.
Although it appears he has Dark Petition.
Yes.
Plus a Pass in Flames. The second ritual, which we knew about.
There's a mystery card in between that Dark Petition and Pass in Flames. I can't make out. I think it might be Duress.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 mana copies of Duress.
Make your way to your seats. Again, 10 a.m. Modern Challenge players, your round 3 pairings.
All right, so all the tutors are gone. Now Dark Ritual is going to resolve in a moment. Yeah, it is Duress. Duress, Dark Petition, Past in Flames, another Dark Ritual.
So is this a path to anything? So he gets to 5 mana, he can cast Dark Petition and float 3 because he'll have Spell Mastery. But then what? I don't even know.
I like you, I do not know.
I don't know what the...
There's no ill-gotten gains running around here. Yeah, I actually just flat don't know. Okay.
I mean, you're down to 3.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay, so you...
Lines I diamond through 3, 6.
But then that's all your mana.
Yeah, I don't know where you're getting with that either.
Well, you might just have to just cast the Duress and try to generate enough mana to do it next turn.
Well, so you crack that, you get the flashback, Pass in Flames.
But it's all your mana, right? The flashback's 6?
The flashback is 6. The flashback's 5.
Oh, flashback. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, the flashback is 5.
Oh, then he's good to go. Right. Then you can Pass in Flames with the black up, Ritual, Cabal, Dark Petition again, and just go get Tendrils.
And he should be able to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many cards in the
Yeah, if the flashback's 5, he's fine. I thought it was.
Yeah, the flashback is 5. We have a judge call at the moment because there's going to be a crop rotation. There's going to be a crop rotation.
Oh, okay. There's a crop rotation. Then we're done here.
We continue to be iced by crop rotation.
Yeah. Okay.
Bojuka Bog is the best card I've ever seen.
I think it's more been about crop rotation.
I think it's more
but,
about.
I mean, it's hard to separate the two, right? But they've both been very good.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
They are a combo.
Yeah.
This crop rotation, for the record, is in response to Lion's Eye Diamond being cracked, which means that those cards are in the graveyard. And now Paul gets to just, I don't know, however he wants to go about doing it.
Well, he's got no graveyard. He does have a second Pass in Flames in the deck, I guess.
That's assuming it's still in.
Yeah. And, I mean, nothing. Just really nothing going on here.
Here's a windswept heath. Excuse me. Well, if lands can beat a deck like this, it's going to be a pretty good choice for the weekend.
Post board, it looks like Muller's got some real plays. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got the artifacts, which are very good. The surgicals, which aren't always enough to do something, but they have their spots of being good, for sure. And that, along with crop rotation for Bajuka Bog, the ability to threaten a fast kill, it's all mattered. I think Orr could have. He got a little ahead of himself, I think, in game one. I think that one was winnable. But this feels like Muller's just straight up winning this one.
This seemed more difficult.
And he's straight up winning this one in a game where he lost his Trinisphere to the gamble. If he had kept the Trinisphere, this game might have been even easier than we're seeing right now.
Paul's going to work on thawing it out.
Oh,
wow,
yeah.
wow,
Oh,
wow,
yeah.
wow.
Oh.
While porting an underground sea.
Yes.
Rashad and Port coming back in Masters 25.
That rare.
Yeah, yeah. Are you expecting Mythic, maybe?
I don't know. Expect is too strong of a word, but it is a card that used to be quite pricey and is much more affordable now.
Dark Depth's going to go down to 8. Paul will draw. That is a Horizon Canopy. Draw a card. Found another Grove of the Burn Willows. Pass the turn back. We'll be porting again, I'm sure.
Yeah, and if you're Muller, you got to feel really good about your spot here, but you don't want to do this manual mode. You can see he's spending some spots here. You know, he ported instead of taking down his Dark Depths. He sacrificed Horizon Canopy. And that might look a little bit weird because it's, you know, why are you taking a turn off, essentially, of activating your Dark Depths? I think the answer is Muller's expecting to find Thespian Sage to speed this up. He's not trying to go a full 10 turns of ticking down. So.
Yeah, stage or crop rotation, either one.
If it comes to it, that's what it is. But I think Muller's hoping to find a much faster path here than activating. Actually manually taking down the Dark Depths is a bit of a backup plan.
Here's Ponder from John. He cracked his fetch land first to search for a basic island. Now he'll keep with the Ponder. Play a Misty Rainforest. As he had not played a land yet for the turn. He had a Delta out there for a little while. There's Grove. It is not inconceivable for Jonathan Orr to come back and win this game.
I mean, if this is the clock, he's got a lot of time to rebuild. And
I'm going to tap Misty Rainforest. Oh, yeah. Or we'll just pass the turn back. Depths down to 7. Muller will untap and draw. Tireless Tracker. Curiously used his port.
yeah, I would have expected him to want to leave that up.
Exploration off of the Mox Diamond. Now here's a land. There's a clue token.
If you've got no disruption from here, I mean, or with 3 lands on the battlefield and some cards in hand, not inconceivable he could win next turn.
Another Dark Depths. That one will bite the dust. Another clue, pass the turn back. I mean, clear for takeoff, it appears.
I mean, you got to go for it now. I think even if you're not 100% sure, the odds next turn that Muller finds another crop rotation that starts really going after your lands, finds a Thorn or a Trinisphere, I think you got to go.
Got to at least try.
You got to try this turn. Your position is unlikely to get better.
Brainstorm. What is this?
Is that
I think that's Abrupt Decay. Yeah. To kill Tracker. Means it's going to search up a Bayou or a Tropical Island.
Yeah, I suppose the Abrupt Decays, you know, you need them for the lock pieces.
Yeah. I think Decay is totally fine to bring in.
Yeah.
And slowing down Tracker means that Paul doesn't get to see any more cards.
Yeah.
He has a clue on the battlefield. That's it. We're going to go back over to Paul here in just a moment. He'll draw. Doesn't look to be a stage or crop rotation. He will, could be appropriately named.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he just search for crop rotation. 50-50.
I mean, I'm surprised that you would go and get, if you were going to get that you wouldn't break a clue first. Don't you want to cushion?
With a card in your hand,
just cushion this a little bit? It makes me think he might have gotten Loam.
Tranquil Thicket down. Well, I promise he didn't search for that card.
Yeah, he has to get Loam in this spot,
you
right?
think so?
Because, well, if he had a Tranquil Thicket, he could also cycle first and look for crop rotation rather than gamble for it.
Okay, got it.
And I think, yeah, he would have just broken the clue.
So Horizon Canopy, Tranquil Thicket, and Wasteland. Paul has picked up from his Life in the Loam, and now Wasteland's going to go after the Underground Sea.
Yeah, I like attacking the mana here. He can give himself a lot of time here if he just goes and ports down the one basic, starts looping Wasteland to take care of the duels.
He's gonna port down the Bayou.
And I like porting the Bayou here. If I'm in Muller spot, if you want to cast a cantrip on your main phase, that's fine. I really don't want you to start casting Dark Rituals. All right, player cycles a card. That's on my bingo board. Go ahead and do that.
Really? Sure you didn't talk to Nick before the show?
This might be over early.
This is the easiest bingo card I've ever seen.
Player draws a card with Leovold, Emissary of Tress, and Emrakul enters the battlefield with Sneak Attacker on my... That gets me to bingo. We might be done by round 5.
Yeah, this won't take much.
I also have Price of Progress, deals 6+ damage, and Simian Spirit Guide casts as a creature, maybe a little less likely. This is why I came to Worcester, is what we are seeing right now.
The cross-country trip has made it worth it.
Was not the easiest place to get to.
Yeah.
Even if you are able to fly into Boston, it takes a little while to get out here.
Bit of a hike.
Not the most convenient stop on the tour. But there was one time this season that I got to watch this. And what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, you throw in that with the combination of the Olive Garden later tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Good, clean living.
The Olive Garden.
Good, clean living. All
That's
the
right.
salad and breadsticks we can eat. Taking a look at my bingo card here as Paul is working his way, it feels like, towards victory. This is going to dredge
Second
Loam.
port. Yes.
He does have a second port, yes. Player becomes the Monarch on my board.
That happened to me online a little while ago. I didn't know what it meant.
Player becomes the Monarch is one of mine.
I thought it was, you know that M whatever set where you pay mana to put you put counters on their lands and it says the land still burns.
Yeah, that red
I thought
card.
it was that.
Okay.
I was like, you're also the Monarch now.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I don't have any frame of reference for what that means. I'm just going to assume it's flavor text. It's not. It actually has a really specific set of rules.
Yeah, it does matter. It does
Really?
matter, yeah.
Really specific set of rules associated with it. There's some 4-mana white creature that,
Palace Jailer.
yeah, it's like a FTK sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you're the Monarch now.
Yeah, some Monarch-related activities. Here's a Lotus Petal. I have that on my board, so that's never happening.
Okay.
And there's a Misty.
I can't imagine deploying cards here and not comboing off this turn. Or needs to keep everything in his hand, because now deploying that Misty Rainforest, it's trivial for Muller to waste land and port you out of even your fetch land. And I think Orr's mana's got to be tight if he can do it at all.
The only reason I think he has to play a Lotus Petal there, or consider playing a Lotus Petal, because has 2 is strong, as you'll see a Dredge 3 here, Surgical Extraction, Grove of the Burn Willows, and Rashadan Port. It's just because if he finds a Thorn or anything, then like you can't cast your Petal?
Yeah, I think so. Orr's got to actually be able to win the game on his own terms. I'm not even considering what Muller could possibly have at this point.
Okay.
Like, you need to have enough resources to be able to do anything as a starting point, and that play, it gets you in the spot where you're going to lose your Misty. You're down that mana from the Misty Rainforest. You're not going to get your main phase with it.
Is he going to search with Misty? Yes. And this is exactly what you're talking about.
I'm okay with casting the Petal for the consideration that you're saying. It still strikes me intuitively as not correct, but you can talk me into it. Putting the Misty Rainforest on the battlefield, I think that's just, unless you're discarding it to hand size anyway, you've got to keep it in your hand.
Paul's reaching for his wasteland. Go ahead and get a land.
Right.
Because I'm going to kill it or tap it.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to end up making that much of a difference, all told, but I still think you got to keep everything back. And if Muller rips a Thorn and you lose, like, okay. You weren't going to combo up through a Thorn anyway. You have no mana.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. That game was already over. We're going to go back to Paul now. Are we going to? Oh.
Yeah, we're close.
We're still icing down.
Yeah. He's almost thawed it out.
We are thawing out the 2020. Don't need no stage. Paul showing he can go short, he can go long, he can do it all. Gonna dredge a loam here. Exploration, Mox Diamond, Crop Rotation. Headed to the graveyard.
So now all you want to do from Muller's side here is pin down Orr's mana as much as you possibly can for one more turn and thaw out your Dark Depths and attack with Merit Lage. And ideally you would attack with the Merit Lage, because Merit Lage attacks for lethal. Is a
also
square.
On your bingo board. Yes.
Also on the bingo board.
Yes. Of course on mine, Sanctum Prelate on 1. Very achievable. Along with turn 1 Gristlebrand.
There's some Death and Taxes people out there.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. In the 0-1, potentially 0-2. Dredge. Depths, Stage, Wasteland to the graveyard. Noted Death and Taxes hater here in the booth. I'm sure I'm going to get some flack on Twitter soon.
You or me?
Me? Well, both of us?
Yeah, I know.
No, yeah, I was going to say. There's your Stage. There's a Wasteland. Paul having the time of his life right now. All these lands, all this dredging.
But you still don't have any cover.
No, the game's not. I mean, there's
or
the potential for Orr to go off.
Yeah, or can still tendrils you out.
Depending on what his hand has coughed up, and remember his Infernal Tuners are gone as well, it's not impossible, it's simply improbable.
But now, it's actually got to be now.
You have to assume that Paul has nothing, because you can't beat anything. And go for the W, if there's a W to go for. So here's Merit Lage, which means that maybe there's a Chain of Vapor here.
All right, so attacks for lethal involves just tapping. Doesn't actually need to be.
Yeah, Paul's expecting it to be pounced like I am. No, not like this. It has to attack, for the record.
Right, he has to actually tap it.
Yes. Does it have to deal lethal or attack for lethal?
It says attack for lethal.
Oh my gosh.
And 20 minus 18 is -2.
Thank you.
Or 18 minus 20, -2.
Yep.
So that counts. That counts. Tap it.
No, don't. Just bounce it. No.
Let him go into combat.
How about it?
He tapped it.
No, come on. No way. No way.
That's definitely a tap.
No way.
That was obviously declaring.
Oh my gosh.
He passed priorities after declaring attackers. That's obvious. That's obvious. That's obvious. That obviously counts.
That is.
We can't debate this.
That is instant replay worthy.
It was tapped. Nick Miller is going to have it on the replay. He's already in the booth.
I don't know how I feel about this. We're going to need a judge's ruling here. I'm going to defer to Nick.
He had to have said declare attackers.
Yeah, that's some unbeatable card, some unbeatable artifact.
I think that's Thorn. Or some, I don't know. Who knows?
What do you have, Invention?
I do have an invention.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah.
Invention on the battlefield.
This is completely absurd.
Going off.
What?
Sphere of Resistance, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
That's it, of course, yeah. Now we'll shake. It was the Sphere that did it. It was the Sphere. As Paul Muller is going to win 2-0 over Jonathan Orr. Lands beats Storm in basically every way possible.